We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with some noteworthy news regarding the Nature Boy and 16-time world champion Ric Flair. As most of you are probably aware by now, Ric Flair announced a few days ago that he will be returning to wrestle another match towards the end of July 2022 at the age of 73, and Ric made it clear that it will be his final match, and a way for him to go out on a high note, so to speak. Now, when this news started to go around that Ric Flair was planning a comeback to the ring, most wrestling fans felt that this was a downright terrible idea, and that it would be a huge mistake for Ric to jeopardize his health at his age and attempt to wrestle again. However, the news we have to share regarding this situation about Ric Flair planning a return to the ring is that Ric has apparently been approved by many doctors, or so that seems, with Flair reportedly asking around 40 different doctors on whether or not his in-ring return should happen. Although we definitely can't say that all those doctors gave Ric Flair the all-clear to return again, because in this interview where Ric talked about going to see these doctors, Flair mentioned he decided he was only going to be listening to one of them, and in all likelihood this one doctor was the one who perhaps said Ric Flair could return to the ring for one more match. So no, it is doubtful that 40 doctors gave Ric Flair the go-ahead to return to the ring, and maybe one of them said that Ric could come back, with this clearly being the one doctor Ric Flair is listening to. With that said, it is evident that Ric Flair is making that return for one last match, regardless of what fans or most doctors think, and nothing seems like it will stop him at this point. And he feels determined to finish the apparent unfinished business he has in the ring, after Ric Flair made it clear that he was not happy with the last few matches he had in TNA Impact Wrestling before retiring. Now let us know your thoughts on Ric Flair's impending return to the ring this summer, and in your opinion, do you feel Ric Flair is making the right choice by making this comeback at 73, or is it a bad idea overall in your opinion? Let us know. Now, the Sasha Banks and Naomi situation in WWE continues to get worse as time goes on. And for any fans who were under the belief that the whole news earlier this week about Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out of Raw and leaving their women's tag team championships in John Laurinaitis' office was a worker storyline, that has clearly proven to be untrue with all the news this week. Sasha Banks and Naomi are no longer the women's tag team champions, and that they have been suspended from WWE indefinitely, with this shockingly being revealed by SmackDown commentator Michael Cole during SmackDown this past week, and that there will be a tournament in the near future to declare the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, with this statement really making it set in for fans the seriousness of this whole Sasha Banks and Naomi situation right now. And since then, things have continued to get worse. WWE have pulled all merchandise for Sasha Banks and Naomi, along with their Facebook pages as well, and WWE have also removed Naomi and Sasha Banks from their television intros as well. Naomi has removed all associations with WWE on social media, indicating that her time in the company could soon be completely over, after this unfortunate situation on Raw last week. Both superstars have been extremely quiet since the situation unfolded last week, and according to a new Backstage rumor, the situation with Banks and Naomi and WWE is only going to be getting worse. And like we had mentioned previously, there reportedly is not a whole lot of support for the former women's tag team champions behind the scenes in WWE. And as of right now, it looks like both Sasha Banks and Naomi are legitimately soon on their way out of WWE, which definitely is completely shocking. And this has caused many fans to question what the future holds for Sasha Banks and Naomi. Now, according to one of our sources, if Sasha Banks does plan to continue wrestling if and when she fully leaves WWE, there are rumors or rumblings that AEW, All Elite Wrestling, may be the next destination for Sasha Banks, and that her debut in AEW may be a lot sooner than some fans think. Many fans feel that Sasha Banks, along with Naomi as well, would be great additions to AEW's women's division, but others aren't feeling the same way and think that AEW should steer clear of both superstars, with some feeling Sasha Banks and Naomi were unprofessional during their latest walkout of Raw, and that it shows that they may be a handful for AEW to deal with. But let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, what you feel is next for Sasha Banks and Naomi. Do you feel like this whole situation with WWE is going to be resolved in the coming days, or is it only going to be getting worse, with it potentially getting to the point that Sasha Banks and Naomi are flat out released from the company? And do you think that Sasha Banks and Naomi would be great additions to AEW's women's division, or should they decide to do something else, like Sasha Banks instead going to Hollywood? Let us know down in the comment section below. We now have some more interesting news regarding Sasha Banks, and it is becoming very clear that Sasha's decision to walk out of WWE on Raw last week was really a culmination of a lot of things going wrong, in her opinion, in WWE. As most of you are well aware, one of the marquee matches at WrestleMania 38 this past April was Charlotte Flair defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey, and according to new Backstage reports, Sasha Banks was apparently very angry at WWE for essentially changing the WrestleMania 38 plans to have Ronda Rousey face off against Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title, because it was reportedly originally supposed to be Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair for the title instead. But when WWE got word that Ronda Rousey would be able to return for the Showcase of the Immortals this year, WWE immediately dropped the Sasha Banks plans and went ahead with Ronda Rousey challenging for the gold, with WWE clearly feeling that Ronda Rousey was a much bigger star for Charlotte to defend her title against and make WrestleMania a much bigger show. And in the meantime, WWE moved Sasha Banks into the women's tag team title scene for Mania instead, and this is something that not surprisingly really upset Sasha Banks, and likely contributed to Banks deciding to walk out of WWE last week. And it really is hard to blame Sasha for feeling that way, because Ronda Rousey basically stole her spot at WrestleMania 38 in the big SmackDown Women's title match. Roman Reigns and the Usos, the Bloodline, really did make history on Friday Night SmackDown this past week, because despite the rumors of WWE not planning to unify the tag team championships, the company certainly surprised or shocked a lot of fans, because when it was all said and done, with a bit of assistance from the Tribal Chief, the Usos defeated RK Bro to become the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Now with Roman Reigns and the Usos nearly holding all the gold, there is a shocking backstage rumor going around right now indicating that Vince McMahon and WWE are soon planning to unveil new championship belts for Roman Reigns and the Usos, likely a new undisputed WWE Universal Championship for Roman Reigns, with this interesting gold belt design being speculated on social media as what WWE are planning to do for Roman Reigns, and as well new undisputed tag team championship belts for the Usos. Despite Roman Reigns transitioning into becoming more of a part-time superstar for WWE, the company don't plan for Roman's undisputed WWE Universal Championship reign to be ending anytime soon, which has caused these new breaking rumors that WWE are currently in the process of working on a new undisputed world title belt design for the head of the table, so that Reigns does not have to walk around with both the WWE and Universal titles at the same time, and it is likely that Roman Reigns will be unveiling this new undisputed WWE Universal Championship in the near future if these rumors are true.